How do I command respect from people who are higher up the career ladder than I am, who are patronizing, refuse to acknowledge my achievements? I don't take their negativity on board. I certainly don't need their validation, and I still sleep at night, but I would love to turn this around. Previous attempts have made me appear everything from pathetic to arrogant, but it's a challenge I want to win, and I'm intrigued as to how this would be answered. Okay, this is my life. This is the exact thing that I went through. So in the beginning of my business career, first of all, I knew nothing. So people were right to question me, why I was there, what the value I was offering. And I remember in the beginning, this was back at a technology company. When I first started, I was hired as a copywriter by the guys who would later become my partners, but at the time I was just an employee. And people were asking, who's the kid in the server room? I was the youngest person in the company. Nobody took me seriously. I was working in an office where everybody had floor-to-ceiling windows with a view of the Pacific Ocean. It was absolutely stunning, except for me. And I was put in the server room, which is the sort of business equivalent of Harry Potter living under the stairs. I didn't have any windows. I remember being so embarrassed bringing my wife to the office because there were no windows. I didn't even have like a proper desk. I just sat in a room full of the servers that were running the technology that we were building. And I thought, okay, nobody takes me seriously. I remember one guy, we ended up letting him go, and he was so pissed that I was in the room during his termination. And so there was a lot of sort of pressure against me. People thought that, rightly so, by the way, in the beginning, that I didn't know what I was doing. And it took so much time and energy to grow and get to the point where I was adding enough value that I couldn't be denied. And that took me years. But I put in that work. I picked the things that I wanted to get good at. I put an inhuman amount of effort. I'm talking working to the point where my wife finally had to pull me aside and say, you're now damaging the marriage. You were working so much. So I recognized that what this was a game of skills. And if a normal person was going to be convinced of my skills, say at point C, these guys weren't going to be impressed by my skills until point Q. Fine, I'm aiming for point Z. And I'm going to go that hard. I'm not going to ask permission. I'm going to really try to add value. I'm not going to see this as antagonistic. I'm not going to take anything on. I'm not going to see fuck them and I'm just trying to beat and crush them. What I wanted to do was get so good that I could deliver so much results, tangible results for the company, that people would want me on their team and that more and more people would covet to have me help them, that I would reach out to people and try to add value to them, even if it wasn't my job, and just see what are the things that I can do to help. And by adopting that attitude, knowing that as I was helping people, I was getting better, I was becoming more valuable, I was taking things on myself, I was trying to look beyond my job description, I was just trying to get so freakishly good that, one, I could go anywhere if I wanted to. I didn't have to stay in that company. Two, if I'm honest, at that point, what I was trying to do was earn equity in the company. So for 5 years, I didn't ask for a raise. I just put my head down, and all I wanted to do was become a partner. And I was just learning and learning and learning and learning. And if somebody made fun of me, dunked on me, yelled at me, whatever, I just fucking self-soothe. That was the big thing, was I realized one of my superpowers was I could self-soothe faster than anybody else. I could focus on skill acquisition, and I tied my identity entirely, my entire ego, all of my pride was around getting better. And by focusing relentlessly on skills, not worrying about other people, in fact trying to help them, take on way more than my job description, put time in nights, weekends to learn a skill set that I knew would be valuable to the company, and I wasn't even asking for anything in exchange. I just wanted to prove that I could get so good that they were better off offering me a piece of the company than losing me to somebody else. And that's that thing. It's become so frowned on in this culture to work more than you're being compensated for. And I'm telling you right now, if you really want an extraordinary life, trying to optimize for your dollars in the short term is a losing proposition. You want to over-deliver consistently at a freakish level. And then, when you've done that, then you can make real demands that will change your net worth forever. That's commanding respect.
If I were to ask you a gift that you would like to receive, I'll bet many of you would pick what I'm going to talk to you about now. I want to talk to you about confidence, about becoming a confident person. I find that is just a big need in the life of many people. They just lack the confidence to do what they want to do, and sometimes do what they should do. And so they come to me and they ask me, how do I become a more confident person? And I would like to share with you quickly 3 ways that you could begin to build into your self-confidence that will allow you to go to a level that a lack of confidence will hold you back and keep you from achieving. The first thing I would share with you is this, that if you want to be a confident person, you have to take action. Confidence is a result of doing something. And so many times people cheat themselves because they lack that confidence, so they don't do what they should do, only to leave saying, I wish I would have done that. I can remember when I was in my 20s, I went to a meeting with leaders that were older than I, wiser, bigger, better, faster. I was like 27. They probably averaged 45, 50. And I was overwhelmed by the fact that I was truly, not trying to be humble, I was truly the least in the room. And I could have learned so much from them. In fact, they gave times for us to ask questions, and I held back. And I didn't ask questions, and I left that meeting, and I really realized how I cheated myself. And I determined that I would never let that happen again. Now, why didn't I ask the question? Because I lacked the confidence. I thought, it was probably a silly question to them. They probably answered that question 1,000 times. Well, they'll look at me and say, wow, he doesn't know very much. And I determined that day that regardless of how intimidated I was going to become, I was never going to cheat myself again. And that I was always going to ask the question, even though it may be a real stupid. What was I doing with my confidence? I was making a determination to take action on something that I didn't feel comfortable with. And trust me, I did. I never broke that promise to myself, but today I can look back at many times where I just went ahead and did it. I didn't feel comfortable, but I went ahead and did it. And each time I took action, it began to give me confidence. The second thing that I have done to build my confidence is to share it with others and help them. One of the things I found is that you begin to feel better about yourself when you help other people get better. And so therefore, there's a confidence booster in making yourself invaluable to others because you're always adding value to them. And so I grew my confidence not only in taking actions on things that I perhaps was intimidated with, but I did it anyway. I grew my confidence by the fact that I began to meet people's needs. And because I met their needs, I began to be valued. And I began to have influence with those people. And all of that process helped me to become a more confident person. The third thing that I did is I spent time with confident people. There is no security like being with secure people. You know it. You know it when you're with them. You know it when you're not with them. You can feel it in the room. A lot of my leadership has been based on the fact that I provide a lot of security for people. They just know. If they hook up with me, if they read my book, if they kind of follow me, if they listen to my lesson, they're going to get better. And that security helps them to become more secure and confident themselves. That's exactly what I did as young people. I found people who were confident, and I hung with them. I watched them. I asked them questions. I learned from them. But more than anything else, I immersed myself in the environment of a confident person. Because confidence is confidence. I've watched it happen many times. A team maybe is behind in a game. All of a sudden they get on a run and they quote, start playing over their head. And they begin to build momentum. And they get on a roll and they start scoring points. And you can just watch in the behavior, the attitude, the actions, the facial expressions of the players, that they're just feeling better about themselves as the game goes on. It's contagious. Get around the person that's secure and you'll become more secure. Get around the person that's got confidence you'll begin to gain more confidence. Because secure, confident people want you to be confident also. The only people that don't want you to be confident they will always want you to be off balance so they can have the advantage. So I want to encourage you, hang around some confident people, get in that environment, immerse yourself in it, add value to people, and take action